Hello guys and gals, and welcome to another enthralling episode of Let's Play Prison Architect here on Gaming with Murel. Maybe. There we go. Game froze for a second. So, we're looking around the prison, and you're gonna say to yourself, my Murel, this is surprisingly different. And, that's the truth. I'm gonna give you a quick overview of the prison, what we have done at this point, and, explanation is quite simple. I accidentally closed Fraps and continued to record. So, I lost 2 whole episodes, and this is what it looks like. You didn't miss a whole lot. We have our non-denominational chapel right here. We have some prayer mats, pews, altar. The chapel is going to work much like these classrooms that I have built. Holy moly. Where a outside employee, like I guess someone you don't actually hire, comes in to do the classes, they also come in to do the non-denominational spiritual stuff. Then, if we go up here, you can see that we've actually completed several new cells. This is cell block D, and I'm not 100% sure what our prisoner capacity is at the moment, because I just loaded up the game, and it's going to take a couple minutes for that all to register as completed cells. But if I'm not mistaken, we should be sitting around cell block C grant completion. We can actually look at the grants we have. I feel a little bad for skipping so much, but, you know, we'll catch on. Here we have our wonderful, beautiful, solitary confinement section, and we're actually going to have to designate these as solitary cells. Solitary cells are beautifully simple. It's a 1-by-1 room with a solitary door. It won't work if you use a regular jail door. It does have a solitary door, which I believe are quite expensive compared to the other doors, that is. And now, the solitary cells can actually be bigger. As you can see up here, I have 2 that are 2-by-1. That doesn't really make a whole lot of a difference. Up here, as you can see, we have our security room. This is going to be security where our phone taps, monitors, and all that are watched. Here we have the security chief's office. Over here we're going to have a kennel and an armory, and it will be fun. We have our laundry room set up without any laundry stuff in it yet. We'll probably do that in this episode. Library, classroom, parole rooms. All in all, you know, we did miss a bit of the building, but the common theme that Mr. Blade from Blade Gaming and the founder of Red Hawk Gamers has been asking me is, when the hell is this prison going to actually open? Because he is a huge fan of this Let's Play, and he's getting a little frustrated with waiting. So luckily, this means that the prison's probably going to open, if not the next episode, the one after that, so we're getting quite close. And that being said, I'm actually going to start doing things instead of just talking about them. And the first little, I kind of want to call it a life hack, but it's not. A neat little exploit, if you will. And we're actually going to have to remove some of these shower heads because I completely forgot about this. If you stick a turlet in the... Oh, that's not what I wanted. If you stick a toilet in the shower, they will actually use the toilets during shower time. So you can actually completely skip them worrying about the bathroom just by slapping in a couple toilets. And we're going to put some toilets in here close to the... what's that room? Canteen. Holy moly, I cannot speak, and it's worse than normal today. I'm actually recording this on Easter Sunday, and I've snuck away from making Easter dinner to do this, because hams take forever to cook. And I guess on that note, Happy Easter, everybody, if you celebrate the chocolate holiday. So let's get going. We're going to give them things to do. Over here, let's start working on some of the security stuff. As far as the security procedures and certifications go, I think, yeah, we just need 10 guards to get that. So let's quickly hire a few guards. Deployment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. And fire, 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 fire. Oh! Holy crap. Okay, I feel like a bit of an idiot. Let's go back into deployment. We need to have, I think it was 3 guards on patrols. Let's take a look. To patrol routes. So let's set out some of the patrols that we are going to need. Oh, and it's actually quite hard to tell what we're going to need that for until we get a bit more set up. So we're actually just going to take a look at some of the other grants for a moment. Cell block D200, that's not going to be plausible at this time. What's going on? I don't want to... Psychologist. So I guess we will do the guard patrols. That's done down here in deployment. We're going to want a guard patrolling like here, the front door. This is one that we're actually going to use. We'll probably want a guard. Normally for stuff like this, you can actually just stick guards, and they'll just kind of wander around the room aimlessly. So, another patrol I quite like is just straight around the solitary rooms here. And my mouse doesn't like me. It turns out you can only drop a $3 mouse so many times before it stops working. So there we go. There. So that's 3 patrol routes. We're going to hire a bunch more guards and accept the fact that we're going to take a loss on that grant. But the beauty of that is it's going to open up the other security-based grants we're going to need, because we are actually going to need quite a lot of guards to keep everybody in line, especially since I think we're trending around 102 cells at the moment. And then once the rest of this gets built, and I'm actually going to lay down a couple more cells, because I feel like our workmen aren't doing a whole lot at the moment. And we have a little bit extra funds. We're probably going to be looking at like 120, 122 maybe. Let's see, because that's what, 2, 4, 6, 8 right there, 110. So yeah, we're probably going to be looking at about 118. So that's not bad. Let's see here. So what was the security grant we're going to be working on next? Gotta find the grants. Governmental security ratings. We need 2 dog handlers and 2 armed guards. Now, we're not going to keep the armed guards full-time. It kind of angers your prison population. The best thing to do is just hire them directly where a riot is happening. So that is probably something we will do. And kennel. Okay, so let's, what's the minimum size? You need 5 by 5. And it has to be in an enclosed space, too. There we go. So then we will slap up a few walls. the armory does not have to be enclosed, though, which is nice. And we'll just slap it down in the corner. And one of the reasons we're doing it kind of like this is the security room is going to need the security office, I should say, which is right below the chief's office right here. It's going to need to expand relatively frequently as the prison expands and we start putting more and more and more stuff in. We are going to need to add monitors. I believe each CCTV monitor can watch a total of, I believe it's 5 cameras, and we're also going to be having people listen to wiretaps as well. So there is going to be room for expansion. Now, next thing we're going to need is a dog kennel, or dog crate, I should say. And we'll slap a handful of these up. And then each dog is going to need a kennel to take a break in when it's not on patrol. So we're only going to put those in for now, but as you can see, we have room to grow. So next is the armory. And like I said, all that requires is to be indoors and a few objects. We're going to need a weapon rack and a guard locker, and we actually need one weapon rack and guard locker per armed guard. So let's look up rack, and unlike Google Safe Search, we don't have to worry about what is going to be returned. Bit of lowbrow humor for you there. I'm talking about boobs. And I'm only going to put 3 of those in because I didn't realize they were 3,000 apiece. And then what you're probably going to notice here happening very, very shortly is once we kind of get all the rooms we need, I'm just going to furnish them, and I'm probably just going to condense it down into a brief montage of what is happening. So we have the armory there, and while we're looking, let's start furnishing other places, like the laundry room. We need a laundry machine, which is what I was looking for. Throw a couple of those in, a handful of laundry baskets. It's important to have quite a few laundry baskets as well, simply because if you don't have enough for each person working in the laundry, it's going to tie things up when they go to actually do the laundry, and they'll have to wait for an empty basket. And the next thing we need is an ironing board. So I'm only going to slap one of those down for now. That's probably one of the rooms that's going to be furnished magically quickly. Simply because furnishing this place is probably going to take, at least 30 minutes. And when we factor in things like the, what is it? Utilities. Holy crap. I'm going to have to start scripting this stuff. But once you start factoring in the utilities, it is actually going to take probably close to an hour. So I'm going to try and condense that down to about a minute, 2 minutes for you guys. Workshop press workshop saw are integral to the workshop, as is a table. As I've said before, the table's where they're going to leave the stuff like these wood blocks, or logs I should say, and other things like metal, because starting out we are going to be making license plates. And that is until we get some prisoners who are who have passed the foundation workshop class and have moved on to taking the carpentry apprentices class. We'll kind of deal with that once we start getting to a point that that is an issue. Now you may be saying to yourself, my Murel, that is very brightly lit. That is because we've actually put in a power station. And I'm going to briefly talk about this because this is another thing that's going to kind of get laid out quickly. A capacitor raises the amount of energy a power station can produce. If we look down, we're actually in the dangerously red zone. That means if we try to power anything else, it's going to shut down. Each capacitor adds a bar. As long as it's touching the side, it will help. We're also going to throw down a water pump here shortly. I like to put those in the same row just because it's easier. Now, as you can see when we go into utilities, this is all green. This is showing what is being powered by this power grid. Over here, workshop saws and a few other things like the laundry machines and the CCTV monitors, they all require an inordinate amount of electricity. So what we're going to try and do there is set up another power grid, probably over here, that powers just this stuff. That way we don't put too much strain on this power station. And this power station is going to be kitchens and cell blocks as well as the main building. Now, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but we're also going to have a second, almost independent prison over here. It's going to have a very small cell block. It's going to have its own kitchen, own yard, own chapel. And that's because it's going to be there for what I'm going to refer to as prisoners at risk. That is anybody who's ex-law enforcement, ex-security guard, as well as confidential informants, so any snitches in your prison that get caught, they will die if you do not segregate them from the rest of your prison. So that's what we're going to do down here, and that's probably going to have its own power supply as well. One word of warning, though. If, say for example, the medical ward, which will be on the yellow power grid, for some reason I'm being clumsy, accidentally connect the two, it is going to cock shit up. So be careful, never ever ever do that. Now, that being said, this has been quite a large episode of me talking, getting you caught up, kind of planning, and I think we're almost to the 20-minute mark. Probably another 4 or 5 minutes, so I do apologize. This is probably not going to be the most interesting upload, but, you know, you can see our prison is really coming together. As far as the confidential informants go, that probably won't be in place until after the prison is open. That's not going to be something we're particularly worried about. And this room down here, the classroom, just so you guys kind of get what's going on, I'm hoping to put the core necessities for each room in before we do the yakety sax through it. And that is a term I'm going to have to stop using because I just found out that yakety sax actually has a very hefty royalty. So that's not the song I'm going to be using. But each one of these classrooms needs at least one desk, or one school desk, one office desk. Has to be indoors. Pretty standard, classroom stuff. So that's what we're going to be putting in here. Over in the library, you need a librarian's desk and bookshelves. And for prisoners to work in there, they actually have to pass the foundation education course. So it's probably going to be, I'd say, at least a week before we get anybody working in there putting the boxes of books away. Now let's see, is there any other rooms that are unfurnished that I did not talk about? Chapel we discussed, you need pews, an altar, and some prayer mats. Security room needs an office desk, chair, and filing cabinet, so we'll put those in there. And that, again, is where the CCTV monitors are going to go, as well as the phone taps. And the beauty of it is now, a guard that is not assigned to a patrol will actually work on these monitors. They will seep them out, which I don't believe they did before. I believe initially you had to assign them one block patrol in front of the monitor for it to work. But some hot spots that we're going to be putting our dog guards in the next episode will be probably 2 dogs in each cell block, because dogs are really good at sniffing out contraband and holes, tunnels that are being built. We're also probably going to have a dog in the visitation room, simply because that's where a lot of contraband is going to be coming in. And that will be more or less the most important places for the dog guards to be. The rest I'm just going to have lots and lots of regular guards. Now, is there anything else we really have to cover before the next episode? I think that is it. And we're cut up really close to the 20-minute mark. I think this is going to be like the first episode ever that is slightly shorter than 20 minutes. So I am going to thank you guys for watching. If you like us, remember to subscribe. Check out our channel check out our website, www.redhawkgamers.co.uk. You can find that in my profile, down in the description, any number of places. Remember to hit me up on Twitter at GamingWithMurel. And yesterday I actually spent the whole day learning how to Twitter, so now it's not as boring as it used to be. And once again, I want to thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.